Hey, it's Tuesday, September 3rd. We're done with that silly August month. We're going to be getting into short stories things. If you're at home watching this, we're going to be filling in the rest of these note things right down through there. So you're going to make sure you write it somewhere and then copy it into your note thing. And a lot of us just be learning and beating stuff into you to make you a better person, to make you more educated and stuff like that. Those of you who are here playing the live version, take your handout thing that has your name and all the writing on it, turn it face down so you don't have to be over. Because we have a quiz coming up on Friday, which is going to cover this, and then the story from last week, and the story we're going to be doing tomorrow. You're going to have questions over it, so I figure we might as well start seeing how much knowledge is in your noggin now. So we're going to do a little reviewy thing to see how smartical you might be. So we get a chance to start with from there. Luke, thanks for volunteering to go first. I'm very proud of your bravery. So what we're going to get through now... Oh, wait. Luke, stop volunteering. It's not your time yet. First, I have to talk about this. Pizza party coming up on Friday. The way it works is it is $6 if you want to come and you hate your family and you're trying to avoid them as best you can. So $6 for all the pizza you can eat just for you. If you don't hate your family and you want to bring them and hang out with them on a Friday evening, bring them for $4 more. The only other thing you have to bring is if your last name is blah blah blah, you're going to bring a drink. If your last name is blah blah blah, then you're going to bring some kind of crunchy thing for us to be able to eat and share and stuff like that. It goes from like 5 to 6:30. I'll be there. Mrs. Randall will be there. Mrs. Melling will be there. You get a chance. I'd say hang out with us, but avoid us. But hang out with other kids while your parents talk to us and stuff like that. Mrs. Randall's gone today. So if you have money, I'm more than happy to take it from you. If you're afraid you're going to lose it, bring it to me. I'll take it from you. If you feel you're responsible, you're welcome to hold on to it till tomorrow. And then I'm fine either way. I just wanted to give you a chance to turn it in if needed. Hopkins.
So it's just $10 no matter how many people in your family get?
Yeah, I mean, don't go around your neighborhood like collecting new ones. But yes, for the most part, because I did have a family like, we've got like 5 kids. I'm like, that's fine. We'll figure it out from there and we'll make it so it'll work out all right. And be careful, because I saw you smile a moment ago, and I know you swore you weren't going to smile in my class, which make sure you stay on top of that thing. It could be embarrassing. All right, so now, that's the frown I'm looking for. Luke, now is the time to volunteer. Good job. So now we're going to go back through and see what knowledge we have on our heads. Don't turn it. I just told you not to turn it over, you horrible children. All it took was like 3 seconds of me talking. Kids nowadays. So now we're going to see how much knowledge is in your head. Plus, you're not answering yet anyway. Luke already volunteered. You're not going to volunteer until the next one. Luke, with plot. We're going to figure out what our first thing will be for that one. And so what is, to the best of your knowledge, from what you remember from before, the definition of plot?
What happens in a story?
Well done, Luke. It's the thing that what happens in the story, the outline of all the major events and stuff like that goes through it. And then we got to the character. So from the character one on that one, sure, Talbot. You can take this one too. To the best of your knowledge. Now, some of these, low-key, if you feel the need to cheat, like, oh, I have no. And if you have it written on the other side, you can, like, low-key, like, squirrel. You're like, I guess it's gone. And you can always take a look. It's better than nothing. But Talbot, our definition of character is going to be?
The people in the story.
Not bad. Nice confidence. Small thing I'll change. We used what in the first one. We're trying to stick with our question words.
Who?
Night. You, your answer. So what question word are we going to use for this one? Yeah, you, your answer. So what must have, see how it's nonstop? Come on, Jenna, that's hilarious. So character, who is in the story? It's the whole year. Just get used to it now. Setting. Take them. On this one, you have 2 parts that go to it. You'll be able to get the first one and the second one if you can't. And then already turn it over. I see.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, Tig. So here, what is the 2 different parts that go into setting? They both start with W. Good job.
When?
Good. When is part of it, and the other one is?
Where?
Go you, Tig. So we have the when and the where, or the time and the place. Either one works for me, and that's just fine for that. Spilling off, point of view is the toughest one that we did of all the ones from last week. Good job volunteering. Proud of you there. And so here we did use a question word, but if you don't remember it, that's actually okay. I can still help you out as we go along. But our best definition for point of view would be?
This telling the story how we're seeing it.
Nicely done. You got the other word in there. Not just who, because that would confuse Talbot, because that was the one that she did. She's like, that one's mine. I don't want to have a fight break out. But you did say how, and that's what we'll go with here. So how the plot is told to us in the story, or how we see the story, or something along those lines. Sabulko, you're correct. He was not done. There is more to it. Way to step in. There are 3 points of view that we're going to be using throughout this unit. So what are the 3 points of view that we're going to be using?
First person, third person, third person limited.
Nicely done. First person, third person limited, third person omniscient. Did we talk about second person with you guys at all before?
No.
We'll touch on it here in just a moment to sort of help you guys out from that one. Funky eye. Stein, with first person, how is a first person story going to be told to us? How do we know it's the first person as we're going through and doing the reading of it?
It's going to use words like because you're seeing it through the eyes of the character.
Nice one. The main character talking to us, and that's where the I, me, we, and stuff like that comes in. Shalini, the third person is not told for the main character. It uses somebody else to tell us the story. And for both limited and omniscient...
Don't look at me like
A better way? I was like me. I'm like, I only have one way to look at you. It was very confusing. So how is a third person story going to be told to us?
The narrator.
Nicely done. Now, you're not done yet, Shalini. The narrator in a third person limited follows how many characters? Nicely done. And an omniscient? Did your fingers confuse you?
2 or more.
Nicely done. So many characters. So you have the one character for third person limited, and then many characters for third person omniscient. And then we got to do my enjoyable ones last week of different examples to help you out. Second person does exist. We're not going to use it. Hopkins.
The book that I'm doing for my report has second person in it. It's not the whole thing, but like
Really?
some of the chapters have it.
This sort of like breaks character and like just talks to you.
Yeah.
Second, the reason that most books don't use this is because second person, you say you, like with directions. You are walking down the street, you see a dragon, something like that. It's hard to write a book that way because it confuses the reader. When it says, you see a monster, you are scared, and you're like, no, I don't. Right. I don't feel that way at all. And you're like, oh, stupid book. You just throw it. So because of that, most books are not told in second person. Usually it's more for directions, like on how to use a microwave. You will put the thing inside. You will put a fork with it. You will hit the buttons. You will watch the sparks. And so that's how the you, as you go through, is sort of connecting directly to you. Good bonding. Now, turn paper back over. Malia.
So, I don't know if you've ever read this book, but online.
Yeah, I have it right over here. I have a signed copy.
Yeah. Is that like first person?
Because it jumps. It's first person. It just jumps characters each one. And that happens in several books. They'll do that like that, where it just follows it from many people. Yeah. Good question. Just multiple first-person bits. Theme. On this one is one that I'm not going to call on you for because I worry that your answer is going to stick more to like parties. Like, I've been to a themed party. It was pirates. Like, that's not the same thing as short stories. A short story theme is not that kind of thing. Is it like when you're talking about like science fiction? Or nope, that's a genre, so different also. A theme is when you learn a thing in the story. It's like an idea that goes throughout a whole story. Like a theme can be friendship, or a theme can be making good choices, or a theme can be snitches get stitches, or something where it's a thing that the characters learn, or it's an overarching thing throughout the whole story. Do we have to write all that? Again, you write down as much as you want. If you want to just draw your picture of Peppa the Pig, that's fine with me. It also works. Again, you can never have enough Peppas. Internal conflict. With this one, before we get to the definition, I need to break down each word. Internal. You guys know what internal means? Nicely done. It's the inside of you bits. And what's a conflict?
Problem.
An argument, a fight, the thing you have with your parents every time you blink. Like, why are you blinking so much? Like, why are you parenting so much? That's a conflict. You guys sit there and yell at each other. So an internal conflict, using that information will not help you at all with the definition because it is technically internal and it's technically a conflict. That's probably not going to help you. An internal conflict is when a character can do one thing or could do something else and is trying to figure out which of these two things to do. That's a really long definition. I agree. Those of you who are smart could probably sum it up in like one word. What would that one word be? You're going to do this, or you're going to do that. Nicely done, Riley. If only you were loud and confident. Try again, Riley. Good job, Riley. It's a decision in the story. So internal conflict is when you have to when the character's making a decision. Should I speak loudly or should I speak quietly? Should I be confident or should I be scared? Should I throat punch the kid or should I let them live with that choice? You have these two different things. The tough thing for you is never use the word not whenever you're writing it. Because you're always going to write it as something or something. But if you go, should he run down the street or not run down the street? And I get you right there. Because that is a big old pile of weak sauce. It's so globetrotter it hurts me. So don't use the word not. You're going to come up with another answer. To answer the question or to not. Right there before you can get any farther, I'm just going to stop you. To answer the question or don't answer. Right there again. Because don't is short for what two words?
Do not.
As in do not use the word don't. Or doesn't. Or won't. Because once again, those are contractions for the word not.
But I don't remember what I was about to say.
You're welcome. And our next one and final one is going to be external conflict. If internal is inside, external is
Outside.
Good job. Way to pick up my subtle clues. Is it a decision that someone else makes? No. But a good guess, random kid. In external... Wait, what's a conflict?
Fight.
That's your definition. In external conflict, it's just a battle in the story. The boy versus the bear. The kid versus homework. The teacher versus the lawsuit for throat punching. So something where you have something versus something in the story. It's always written as, you're going to have a something, a versus, and a something. Something versus a something. This one is always written as something or something. Because those will be the big things we're going to get to, is making sure you write them correctly. So we don't have to have that throat damage. Abby?
I remembered it.
I'm so happy.
Does the book have to have one of those?
In internal? In external? Every story does. It's just about how important. There's always a decision of some kind. Sometimes you just have to be creative.
What about those baby books where the baby loses their blanket?
Those aren't real books, dear.
But they have words.
They technically. They also have a big. Sometimes, like the little engine that could, that has a decision because the engine could not. Right there. So it's not going to work out for you. So now, here's the next part we're going to do. We're going to see how well you can apply this to an actual story. Now, the good news is you don't have to write any of this down. This is just practice words in your own brain. We're going to see how well you can think your way through. Gesundheit again. Now, this is the story. For those of you who are visual learners, you get to see it up there. For those of you who are auditory learners, I'll be saying it out loud to try and help you as I go through and do it. So as I go through, we're going to figure out the characters, setting, plot, point of view, theme, internal conflict, external conflict. Where do we write it down? Once again, just in your head. You just have to thinkificate it, and that's it. The tortoise and the hare. There once was a sassy rabbit who thought he was all that in a bag of chips. He would brag to all the other animals in the forest about how much faster than them he was. I have never yet been beaten, he said. Whenever I want to win, I will most definitely destroy anybody who steps up. I challenge anyone in this forest to race with me. A friendly turtle who'd been listening to the annoying bunny for weeks on end said quietly, I accept your challenge. That's a good joke, said the confident hare. Excuse me. I could dance around you all the way. You're not even worth the effort of a laugh. Just keep talking, answered the tortoise. Until you've actually beaten me, your words mean nothing. Shall we race? So an impromptu racetrack was created and a start line was dragged in the dirt. As soon as the owl yelled, go, the hare took off at a sprint and was almost out of sight at once. But about halfway down the track, he stopped, came up with a plan. He wanted to show that dumb turtle just how stupid he was for sassing him in front of his friends. To insult the scrubby little tortoise, he just laid down in the middle of the road and took a nap. The tortoise, meanwhile, plodded on and on. He ignored the rabbit and just did what he did best, walk without stopping. Eventually, when the hare awoke from his taunting nap, he looked up to see the tortoise almost across the finish line. And no matter how much he sprinted and swore, he could not catch up in time to save the race. So there's our story. So now, let's figure out our 7 elements. You might disagree with me on some of these, and that's fine. These are not definitive answers. They're just sort of my answers. So first off, character-wise, how many characters do we have?
3.
Nice one. 3. Who would you say is the main, most important character? Tortoise. Why tortoise? All right. For me, I went a different direction. I said the hare, I thought, was the main character. But that's fine. We can disagree on that one. I'm fine with that one. And so you say the tortoise is the main character. So I list him as the hare is the most important, and then the tortoise. And then I'm guessing we can all agree who is the third character? Yeah, the not as important one. Now here's the tricky part. Anytime we do this for a homework, you have to give me a description of the character. You cannot just tell me the character. You have to describe them. And whatever description you come up with cannot be something that applies to any other character. So for the hare, you cannot describe the hare as an animal. No, that describes all of them. Is in a race? No, that would describe more than one. So you have to come up with a description that will only fit that one character. So as an example, Casper's volunteered to take the first one, which was the hare. So you can either describe the personality or something the character does or something that struck you in the story, but a descriptor of the hare. Casper?
The hare is coffee.
Works for me. I went for sassy and fast. But as long as you have some kind of description that works in there, I'm happy. Andre, for the tortoise. Another description that's going to work just for the tortoise and for no other character. What does he do in the story?
Slow.
Works for me. I went for calm and slow. It doesn't really apply to any other ones. Kyler, the owl might be the toughest one. That's why you were so brave to go for this one. Because there's not a whole lot of personality traits about the owl. Really, he only does one thing throughout the whole thing, throughout the whole story. And that would be... Ooh, why do you say helpful? Works for me. I went for starts the race. But sure, helpful could work for me. That would work along the same lines. And then hoy, for setting, what are the two definitions of setting? Nicely done. For when and where. For the when, it was kind of hard to come up with a when on this story. Does anyone have a guess on when? I'll be happy to take it. Snow? Why daytime?
Why would they race at night?
Well, I mean, I agree. But I'm guessing some things might be more nocturnal. Although rabbits, I don't know, turtles, owls are nocturnal. But yeah, there's just one throwing it out there. But daytime could work. Colin?
You would go to sleep for like 8 hours, not take a nap.
Well, unless you're nocturnal. But yeah, I could dig that one too. Tig?
Spring, because like owls and hares would like hibernate during not spring.
Sure. You justified it for me. That works for me. Cicada?
I didn't want you to find out about that.
You know, there's any finding out. It's just right there in your name. I've seen them outside my house. Continue.
The afternoon, because in the morning he was bragging, and then they set up the race. And so,
Sure. Hopkins?
1843.
Do continue.
Well, I mean, it could be any year, so 1843 works.
Oddly enough, I went for a long time ago, so that's frightening of all the answers. That's the closest to what I had, which is scary that our thinking is as similar as it is. I was thinking more 1842, but you're more recent. That's fine. For the where on that one, we can probably help with that. Akila, overall, where would you say our story was taking place? That's actually the second thing I had. You're just ahead. Where was the race taking place? It feels like you're on fire so far. Nothing but total fuego. We'll come back to you for that one. You really like this race thing. I hate to take that from you. Carly, we're going to have you tag in for a moment here. Where was the race taking place?
in the forest.
Nicely done. Now, Akila, in the forest, where was it taking place? You gave this answer 12 times. Now you just say it out loud again. Good job! So this is where the racetrack comes in. So for the forest was more the general one, and then the racetrack was more specific, although I just seemed to confuse you. But that was fun. That was good teamwork. Go team fourth period. For the plot, whenever we do plot, we're going to come up with 5 things. We're always going to do the very beginning, the very end, the very middle, and then fill in the other two. And it sort of like sprinkles down as we go through. Journey. So we're going to start with number 1. So for journey, what is the very first thing that you say would happen in the story? The opening important event.
The hare bragging about all the
Works for me. Rabbit brags about being the fastest. See, it's right up there. Go you. And then for there, Kemp, we're going to jump all the way down to the end. So we go to 5. How does our story end?
The tortoise wins the race.
Works for me. Rabbit loses, tortoise wins. That gives us the beginning, gives us the end. Nooper, now we're going to come back to the middle. So to go to number 3. And here we get to have some disagreements and arguing back and forth what we think the middle is. So what would you put as the most middlest of all the events?
The tortoise challenges the rabbit.
Works for me. The tortoise challenges the rabbit. Anyone else have a different middle one? What should we do? Is we check it out from there. Riley.
They're actually doing the race.
So actually running the race. I can see that too. Andre?
The rabbit takes a nap.
As the middle part? Alright, I can see that. Hang on, I went for rabbit and turtle race to the woods. So that's where I went for. Not bad. So now if I use this as my number 3 in the middle, that means there has to be an event that happened between 1 and 3. So Murray, what happens between rabbit brags about being the fastest and rabbit and turtle race to the woods? What would our number 2 event be?
The tortoise challenges the hare to
See, not nearly as impossible as we thought. And then 4, Hebert, we'll go for you. Between the rabbit and turtle race to the woods and the rabbit loses the race, what is our event?
The turtle passes the rabbit and takes a nap.
Works for me. Rabbit takes the nap to taunt the turtle. So I found that usually seems to be the easiest way. Beginning, end, middle. And that seems to make life a lot easier on people. Point of view. We get to the little voting thing here. So for point of view, we have the 2 choices between first person and third person. Figure out which one you think it is. If you say first person, being told by main character, raise hand. Third person, told by narrator, raise hand. Alright, good job. You're not done yet, fancy pants. Now you have between limited and omniscient. If you say limited to one character the whole time, if you say omniscient and follows different characters, yeah, I agree too. How about theme? Oh, before we get to that. Malia, first off, we have to figure out once again, what is our definition of theme? What is it we're supposed to be looking for the most part in a story? No, that's plot. The definition of, you said what, and what is what happens in. So what is the definition of theme in a story? Main idea. A thing the characters learn, the main idea, something that goes throughout the whole thing. Have you guys ever seen or read the story of the tortoise and the hare before? Yes. There's supposed to be a theme that you're supposed to learn at the end of it. Does anyone know what that theme is? Catlin?
Slow and steady wins the race.
And how does that apply to the story?
The tortoise is slow, but he won.
Nicely done. I think is correct, but I think it's a dumb theme. Because I don't think it connects to the story very well. Can you guys come up with a better theme that we should have learned from this story? Because yes, that is what the old one was, but I don't think that really applies as well now. Talbot?
Be humble.
Ooh, why?
Because the hare lost the race because he was trying to taunt the turtle by sleeping, but he lost.
I would take that as probably a better theme than the classic one. Although Abby was right, that is the one that's supposed to go along with it. I think there's any number of themes that you guys could come up with that are better. Typically, the theme is something that you get a chance to argue for. As long as you can connect it to the story and give me evidence, there is a good chance I'll usually accept something you come up with. And our last 2, internal conflict. So go from Spencer. What is the definition of internal conflict? What is it we're supposed to be looking for?
Decisions?
Nicely done. Wait, are you asking me? I'm old. I have no idea what's going on.
Decisions!
Nicely done, Spencer. So the turtle has to make a decision in the story. Hopkins, what would be the decision that the turtle has to make in there? There has to be something or something. Before you get too far into it, Preston wants to remind you of something. Because Preston's going to remind you there's a word that you can't use, because if not, you have to be throat punched. No one wants to do that. Because Grace, what word can she not use?
Not.
Good job. Don't use not. Do not use. So anyway, back to Hopkins. Hopkins, what is the decision the turtle makes? Towards the beginning of the story.
Yeah, to race.
Or Now, don't you give me shruggy shoulders. Now, here's where it gets fresh. It's like, to race or not race? So the problem is, because he chose to race, the other part of it is not in the story. So this is what gets tough with internal conflict. You have to use your imagination. What is it the turtle would have done if he had not made that decision? To race or to race? So you're saying it was never a decision in the first place.
Race or be slow.
He was already slow.
Like be slow by himself.
That was so in order to just sit there on his own. That's a lot of words. So I agree. To race the rabbit, or I put just move on, or ignore the rabbit and all of his issues, or something like that. That's where internal conflict would get tough on you, because your thought is, but that wasn't in the story. It was. We just never find out what the other half is. Along the lines of rabbit with Gearhart. So Gearhart, the rabbit, also makes a decision. Actually, they both make multiple decisions, but just pick one of them for now. What decision does the rabbit have to make?
To try the race or
Not try. I know it's right there. You just embrace that globetrotterishness. It's like, it's so good, kid. How about this? Later in the race, what controversial thing does the rabbit do? Nicely done. So, Tom with a nap. But if he doesn't do that, there's a decision made there. So what is the other thing he could have done? Nicely done. Continue on. So, Tom with the race, or just finish it out. So that's what I'm looking for you guys to be able to do. Use that creative imagination-y thing, which is kind of scary. Speaking of scary imagination things from there, we get to external conflict. And Derek, with external conflict, is going to be... Wait, I forgot that one. So there. Yes! They don't get to leave yet, Derek, until you tell us what the external conflict is. What are the two things fighting each other in the story?
The rabbit and the turtle.
You're close. How do you have to write an external conflict?
Rabbit versus turtle.
Nicely done, Derek. Now you're done. People at home, Hi, random kid getting up and just walking across my room. Not